welcome back to week 2. I hope week 1 wasn't too scary for you. This week is going to be pretty awesome because it does use similar terms that we have used in week 1, but they're going to be smaller squares, so they'll work up a little bit faster for you. Now remember, we are going to be working in US terms. If you're uncomfortable with that, there are 2 patterns with both descriptions of US and UK. You can tell which one is which because there's a little flag icon in the corner. So use whichever one makes you the most comfortable. Let's get into week 2. Now using our black yarn and our hook, we're going to start by making the eyeball, which involves another magic circle. And just as a refresher, even though I know we did it last week multiple times, I'm going to show you how to make the magic circle. So you take your 2 fingers and you pinch the yarn and you wrap it over the top of your fingers like so, and you make an X. You take your hook with the hook pointing down, going underneath that first loop, grab the top loop, turn it up, grab the yarn, pull it through, and ta-da! You have a magic circle. Now, to start this, it is the same as last week. Lucky you! We're going to chain 3. So since we have that 1 there already, we're going to go 2 and 3. This is going to act as a stitch because in the next round, we're going to be working into the top of that chain 3. All right, we're going to work 11 double crochets into this magic circle. So just a little refresher, for double crochet it's yarn over, insert, yarn over, pull through, 3 loops on the hook, yarn over, pull through 2, 2 loops on the hook, yarn over, pull through 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and before we do the 11, we're going to be changing in the next round to zest. So we're going to change color the same way we did with all the other ones. So to make this a little bit easier and less finicky, I'm going to pull the tail, but not too tight, just enough to have the circle a little bit more closed. It'll make things easier. We're going to yarn over, insert our hook, yarn over, pull through 2, 3 loops on the hook, yarn over, pull through 2. We have 2 loops on the hook. We're going to grab our zest. We're going to yarn over and pull through. Now, here's where we're at. I am then going to come in here and pull this circle all the way closed so that it's nice and tight. So here at round 1, you should have a total of 12 stitches. As you probably remember, we are going to slip stitch into the top of that chain 3. Slip stitch, chain 3, 1, 2, and 3. Now for this round, we're going to work a double crochet into that same stitch there, and then we are going to increase in every stitch around for a total of 24 stitches. So I'm going to show you the first 2 and then I'll let you meet me again. There's 1, and then increase, and 2, 1, and 2, so you're going to repeat that all the way around, and I'll meet you at the end. Now that we're at the end of round 2, we should have 24 stitches. Let's count them together. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. I'll show you a little trick when you're changing colors. If you've already completed the stitch that you needed to change colors on, you just simply remove your hook and you very gingerly pull out one loop so that there's 2 loops, and you pick up those loops with your hook. 1, 2. You grab your next color, so for us that's white. And you add your yarn by pulling through those 2 loops. And at this time, it is a good time to cut your yarn. Snip and snap. And then we'll start round 3. So round 3, you insert your hook into the top of the chain. Slip stitch and chain 3. We're going to double crochet into that same stitch, which counts as an increase. And for this row, we're going to double crochet 1, increase, double crochet 1, increase, double crochet 1, increase, and repeat that all the way around. I'll do a couple with you. 1, increase, 1, increase, 1, increase. So you're just going to carry on doing this, and I will meet you at the end. At the end of row 3, you should have 36 stitches around. For the next round, we're going to do the same thing. You're going to slip stitch into the top of the chain, and we're going to chain 3. We're going to double crochet into the top of that chain. And instead of doing 1 and then an increase, we're going to do 2 double crochets and then an increase. And we're going to do that all the way around. But don't worry, I'll show you a couple. 1, 2, increase, 1, 2, increase. You're a pro at this point, so I'll go ahead and let you repeat this pattern, and I'll meet you at the end. Welcome back. We've got all the stitches except for 1 left, and we're going to be changing to signal red. Once we've got this stitch in, we should have a total of 48 stitches. So again, to color change, yarn over, insert your hook, yarn over, pull through, 3 loops on the hook, yarn over, pull through 2, 2 loops on the hook, drop your white, pick up your red, grab the red, pull it through. We're going to slip stitch into the top of that chain 3. And after that slip stitch, we're going to work 1 single crochet into that same stitch. 1. And then we're going to single crochet in each stitch around. And you can go ahead and do this, and I'll meet you at the end. Welcome back to the end of row 5. We are going to be changing colors in the very last stitch again, and we're going to be changing to black. Now, since we're going to be changing colors in single crochet, it's a little bit different than before. We're going to insert our hook, yarn over, pull through. We'll have 2 loops in our hook. We'll grab our new color, grab it and pull it through. We are then going to work into the next stitch. So we're going to slip stitch. It's not this one, that's our previous slip stitch. We're going to work on the top of this stitch here. So we're going to slip stitch, chain 1. That's going to give us our height. This does not count as a stitch. We are going to work 1 half double crochet in that same stitch. So yarn over, insert our hook, yarn over, pull through, 3 loops on our hook, yarn over, pull through all 3. We're then going to single crochet 3, 1, 2, and 3. We're going to half double crochet 2, 1 and 2. We're going to double crochet 2, 1 and 2, and then we're going to work our corner. And to do our corner, we're going to be working all of these next few stitches into the next stitch here. So we're going to do 2 treble crochets, 1 and 2. Whoops-a-daisy. And 2, and then chain 2, 1, 2. Then we'll work 2 more trebles in that same stitch. So now we've completed our first corner, and now we are going to do 2 double crochets. 1 and 2. We're going to do 2 half double crochets. 3 single crochets. 2 half double crochets, 2 double crochets, and then we'll work our next corner, which again is 2 trebles, 2 chains, and 2 trebles in the same stitch. And then 2 trebles. Now that we've completed our second corner, let's go ahead and count our stitches to make sure they perfectly match our pattern. So we've got our first corner here, our 2 double crochets, our 2 half double crochets, our 3 single crochets, 1, 2, and 3, our 2 half double crochets, 1, 2, and our 2 double crochets, 1, 2, and our corner. Now you're going to go ahead and repeat this sequence 2 more times, and I'll meet you at the end. We've just finished our final corner, and now we have 3 stitches remaining. We're going to do 2 double crochets and 1 half double crochet. 1 double crochet, 2 double crochets, a half, we're going to slip stitch into the top of the stitch there. We're going to chain 3, 1, 2, and 3, and that counts as a stitch. We're then going to double crochet across, 1, in the corners, we're going to work 2 double crochets in that chain space, chain 2, and then 2 more double crochets in that chain space. So 1, and 2, chain 2, and 1, and 2. Now you're going to want to push these stitches out of the way to reveal the stitch that is right here. And we are going to just continue by double crocheting across here, working the corner the same with the 2 double crochets, chain 2, 2 double crochets, and that's going to be repeated across the sides. I'll meet you at the corner. We've just finished our last corner, and now to finish off this square, we're going to double crochet in the last stitches, finished off by a slip stitch in the top of the chain. And then slip stitch into the top of the chain 3. Grab your scissors, and now we have an eyeball ready to embroider. We've just completed our eyeball square. Now we're going to move into doing the skull. You'll notice that they are basically the same exact thing. The only difference is that we are not color changing. And for round 5, instead of doing the red single crochets around, we're going to go directly into making the circle to square. This is going to be the same exact stitch count and the same stitches, and they are going to turn out the same size. Now we're going to make our pumpkin square. I've embroidered mine, but we'll do that part later. You're going to follow the same exact pattern as the skull up until the color change on row 5. So follow your pattern and I'll meet you at the color change. Meeting you back at the stitch before the color change, we're going to be doing a half double crochet color change, so this is slightly different than what we had done with the double crochet color change. You're going to yarn over, insert your hook, yarn over, pull through. We have 3 loops on the hook, we're going to grab our clementine yarn and we're going to pull that through. Ta-da! Now we are going to move into making the stock. The stock is nice and simple. It's just 3 double crochets. 1 and 2 and 3, and then we're going to do a double crochet color change back into lemongrass. Then we're going to do 2 half double crochets, 1 half double crochet, 2 half double crochets. We're going to double crochet 2, 1 and 2. We're then going to do our final corner of this round, so treble 2, and in that same stitch, 2, we're going to chain 2, and then we're going to place 2 more trebles in that same corner. Then in those last 3 stitches, we're going to double crochet 2 and half double crochet 1. 1 double crochet, 2 double crochets, 1 half double crochet, and then slip stitch into the top of the stitch. So that is the end of row 5. Now we'll continue on with row 6, which is the exact same as the other squares. I'll just get you started. So we'll start by chaining 3. 1, 2, 3. That counts as a stitch. We're going to double crochet in each stitch along. And then in the chain space, we're going to double crochet 2, chain 2, double crochet 2. 1 and 2. 1, 2 chains, double crochet 2. So there we've got our first corner. You're going to just go ahead and repeat that sequence all the way around, and I'll meet you at the end. So we've just finished our pumpkin. Don't worry, we'll do the embroidery later. Make sure you do 4 more of these pumpkins so we have a total of 5. Go ahead and grab your black yarn and your hook. We're going to start on the spooky swirl. To start, we're going to do a magic circle, which I'm going to go ahead and assume that you're already a pro at, but if you're not, remember to stick your hook under that first loop and grab the second loop. Now this circle is going to be a little bit different than the other ones because we're going to be working with 2 colors, the black and the white, and we are not chaining 3 because that affects the swirl. We are going to go directly into double crocheting into the magic circle. So to start, we're going to put 6 double crochets in black. So here's 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6. Now we're not going to be color changing in the same way either. You're going to take this loop and you're going to pull it up. Okay? And you're going to take your hook out. It's going to look like so. Now you're going to grab your white yarn and we're going to slip stitch one into here to anchor the yarn. And you want to make sure too that your yarn isn't getting caught and pulling this because you don't want to unravel or anything. So go ahead and put your black ball to the other side. Right. Now you're going to stick your yarn into your magic circle. You're going to slip stitch to anchor. And then we're going to continue making double crochets into here. And we're going to do 6 of them in white. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6. Now pull this loop and remove your hook. See how we've got our 2 colors there. It's kind of like a little butterfly. Take the tail end of your magic circle and pull it tight. Before you pull it all the way, make sure that that white tail that we had used to anchor is pulled nice and tight. Pull it there. And this is what we will have. Now that we've got our first circle completed, we're going to pick up the black yarn. So put your hook in and pull the yarn tight. And then we are going to begin working into this stitch here. It can be a little bit confusing to understand which stitch to go into exactly because it's not the top of the chain 3 like we have been doing. So I'm going to show you how to count backwards. So we'll have a total of 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So that is where we're going to be inserting our hook for that first double crochet. You're going to yarn over, insert your hook into that stitch, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through those 2 again. Now this is the first stitch of our round. You're going to need a stitch marker, like so. Take that stitch marker and place it into the top of that stitch we had just made. That is the beginning of our round. We are going to be increasing an H stitch around in black here. And since we've already placed 1 stitch here, we're going to be putting 1 more in. And we can bring our yarn back over. So increase. And increase again. And then increase in that last one there. You're then going to pull that loop, take out your hook, move your yarn back over to the other side, and then we are going to pick up the white yarn. So insert your hook, pull that yarn tight, and again, if you're feeling confused, you can count backwards. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So we're working into here. We're going to go ahead and put 2 double crochets there. And you're just going to be repeating this up until our stitch marker here. Ooh, excuse me. I'll just put that down so you can see what that second row looks like. So now we'll start with round 3. You've gotten to your stitch marker. This is going to be different than what we were doing with the other circles. So remove your stitch marker and place 1 double crochet into that space. Pick up your stitch marker and put it into the top of that stitch. And now we are going to increase. We're going to work 1 double crochet, increase, 1 double crochet, increase, 1 double crochet, increase, all the way around with this black until we get to this stitch here. I'll do a couple with you. I'll meet you at the end of the black. Now we've gotten to the end of where the black is. We're going to take our hook and pull that loop up. And we are going to move our yarn to this side, move our black over and around here. We're going to pick up the black and pull that loop down. We are then going to work in the same fashion, 1 increase, 1 increase, all the way around until we reach our stitch marker. I'll show you a few. So we have our 1 double crochet, our increase, 1, and I'll meet you at the stitch marker. We're going to be continuing with the black as we've gotten to our stitch marker. You're going to remove the stitch marker. We're going to put 1 double crochet, pick up our stitch marker, put it into the top of that stitch there, and we are then going to work, it's going to be 2 double crochet, increase, 2 double crochet, increase, and since we've already done 1, we're going to do 1 more, and then our increase, one and 2, and increase, and continue on like that until we get to the change in the white. Now we're back at where we had left the white. You're going to take the black and pull that loop nice and big. You're going to switch your yarn over, bring the white back in. Hello, white. Grab that white yarn and continue in the same fashion of 1, 2, increase. 2, and increase. And you can continue like this, and I'll meet you at the stitch marker. Now that we're back at the stitch marker, we're going to grab our scissors and we're going to snip the white and we're going to pull the white through. Remove the stitch marker and you can put that away now. We're going to turn our work so that the black is facing up. Take your ball of yarn and bring it back over here. And we are going to be attaching our clementine yarn. Now, if you remember how we had attached yarn in the past by removing one loop, that's what we're going to do this time. So we're going to remove one loop, which will give us 2 loops to pick up. And then we are going to grab our clementine and pull it through, just like so. We're going to work 2 double crochets. So yarn over and 2. 2 half double crochets, three single crochets, two half double crochets, two double crochets, and then we'll work our corner, which is 2 trebles in the same stitch. And 2. We're going to chain 2. And then work 2 more trebles in that same stitch. We're going to repeat that sequence, but I'll show you what happens at the white. We're going to work 2 double crochets, two half doubles, three single crochets, two half double crochets, two double crochets, and in this last stitch here we are going to work our corner. So 1 treble crochet, 2 treble crochets, chain 2, and then 2 more trebles. Now that it's like this, we've got our 2 corners, we're going to go ahead and continue working, but into the black. We're going to work 2 double crochets, 2 half double crochets, 3 single crochets, 2 half double crochet, 2 doubles, and then we're going to work our corner, which again is 2 trebles, chain 2, and then 2 more trebles. You're going to repeat that sequence again here, and I'll meet you at the end. Now we've completed our 4th corner, which you'll notice this is the end of this round color-wise, but you'll notice the pattern has a few more stitches that are going to be worked in. Don't fret, this is so that the square is a little bit more even because we have this jump. So what we're going to do is 1 double crochet, 1 half double crochet, 1 single crochet, and a slip stitch. See how that just kind of evens it out and makes it a lot nicer and smoother? Now for the start of row 6, we're going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and that counts as a stitch, so we're going to be working into the next stitch to double crochet. So we're going to double crochet. And then we are going to continue double crocheting across, and then in the corner, we are going to double crochet 2, chain 2, and then double crochet 2 again into that same stitch. It is the exact same as the eyeball square. So go ahead and do that, and I'll meet you at the end. So we've come around to the end, and we have completed our square. It might look a little wobbly to you, but that's okay because when we sew it together, it will look perfect, I promise. For this portion of the project, we're going to be sewing together the panels. Now we're going to have 2 panels that are horizontal and 2 that are vertical. You want to make sure that your orientations are all in the same way for your panels. So for the horizontal, you're going to have the stock pointing up, the white notch pointing up, and the black notch pointing down. Now when we do this horizontally, you're going to want your stem pointing up, your white notch pointing up, and your black notch pointing down. For this example here, we're going to be sewing together the skull and the swirl. That means we're going to be sewing with clementine yarn. Now when you're doing the pumpkin, we have the lemongrass and the black, so make sure that you're sewing together with the lemongrass. That just makes it so you don't see your seam in between the yarn. To get started, grab a stitch marker and a needle. We're going to grab some of this yarn here and your scissors. Now, to sew these together, you're going to pretend you have a sandwich. Take your bread and put it on top of the other piece, and you're going to point this part up towards you. Now what I like to do, because we have 21 stitches across here, is I like to find the chain. So remember how we did chain 2, so we've got 1, 2, we're going to go into that second one. Second one of this one, and second one of the orange one. Now just to show you again so you really get the point, when I open this up, my notches stay pointing in the direction they're supposed to. And you really want to double check that before you start sewing so that you make sure that it's just right. We're going to thread our needle. Now, the side that's got the stitch marker is where we're going to end. Where we're going to start is in this stitch here, which again we have the 1, 2 of the chain. We're going in the 2 of the chain. And we're going to be going into what I like to call the back leg. So you're going into the back leg of that loop. And then for this orange one here, we're going to be going into that back loop as well, like so. Now we're not tying any knots or anything for right now. You're just going to pull this through. Leave a little bit on the end here. Now, what we're going to do is you're going to come back over to the side of the black. You're going to go into the back leg, like so, and then into the back leg of the orange. Like that. You're going to repeat this along all 21 stitches. And again, remember the back legs only. I'll do a few here with you so you can see it, and then open it up so you can see how nice and clean it looks. So here we are back at the stitch marker. We're going to go into that last part there and pull it. And you can kind of give it a tug there to make sure it's nice. Now, this is for the fun reveal. Take out your stitch marker, open up your sandwich. Ta-da! We have our squares nicely sewn together. So the reason we are using the clementine yarn with this clementine border is so that we don't really see the seam here. And I think that just looks so nice. If you were to say use purple, you would definitely see purple running along here. So make sure that you are matching your colors. Now is a good time to think about weaving in your ends, otherwise you will have a lot to do later. So to weave in our ends, we're going to just kind of go in through some of these back loops here and pull our yarn through. It doesn't have to be anything beautiful or perfect, just make sure you're not punching all the way through, like you don't want to go through to the front. You want to just kind of work your way through those loops. Another thing to think about too, you're not the Hulk, don't pull it too tight. Keep it a little bit loose and comfortable there. And what I like to do too is I like to work some straight down. Some people like to go like all over the place. I like to keep kind of straight down. And then I like to come back up. So for example, see how I just went under here? I'm going to come up and over and kind of work my way back up. Oh, it would help if my yarn was in my needle, wouldn't it? So again, back up like so. And then to make it so it's not just like straight up and down, I'm going to go over a little bit here and kind of go into these stitches here. And then when you're happy, which I'm very happy, we'll snip that end. And that is how we weave in our end. So I've just shown you how to make the squares for this week. It is quite similar to the first week, but we've learned some new things along the way, like doing the swirl. And what's really fun about this week is that the squares are small, so they feel like they're moving a lot faster. Now we do have a lot of squares, so feel free to pause, rewind, and to take your time. It's not a race. And as always, these videos are here forever. So if you ever need them in the future, they're here. Again, if you need help, we do have a Facebook group where we are more than willing to help you. It is a very lovely community. So grab your hook and go ahead and do the squares for this week. If you're super speedy and get them done this week, awesome. But if you need a little bit more time, that's okay too. I'll see you here next week.